All right, guys, welcome back to Wealth and Travel on a Dime. And it's a beautiful Indian summer day. And I thought today we could talk about 5 things that helped us achieve financial independence. So let's take a walk. Now, the first and simplest thing, of course, is debt. Now, everybody uses this as a metric, but the reality is it's going to be based upon whatever you choose. I mean, if you choose to rent for the rest of your life, you're going to build your retirement for that. If you choose to live in a house or own a property, you're going to build it for that. We had 2 properties and we paid them both off cash. So that was pretty easy to deal with. Missy, when we first got together, had a little bit of credit card debt. When we first got together for like the first 6 months, I had some child support arrearages to catch up on. You know, you're going to have debt in credit card form. You're going to have debt in all kinds of different stuff. Just pay it. Honestly, the fastest way to expedite your money in the future is to make sure you don't have debt. Now, people argue and say there's good debt and other things. That's fair. I'm just sharing with you what we did. Now, the next one is research. And I know that sounds silly, and I can promise you nobody else brings up this point. But the number one thing I've learned when I want to buy something, when I want information about something, when I want to go on a trip, when we're planning vacations, buying cars, doing research is better than money. It honestly is. I see so many people that go out and go, I need a new car. They go to the first dealership, buy the first car they're put in front of them that they're approved for. I also see people that go out and buy a brand new phone when the specs are almost the exact same as the old phone. For example, I edit all my videos and film some stuff on my phone. This is an S20, okay? The new S24 just came out. Now, until the S22, nothing was really any better than the S20. I'm just going to be honest with you. The spec differences are minute as far as anything I can do. There's differences in the camera. It's not enough to affect anything. There's differences in the processor. It's not enough to affect anything. On the scale I use the phone, the S20, this is an S20 Plus actually, and this one has the bigger memory in it, is still just as powerful of a phone and does everything you need. Now, with that said, I bought this off eBay used for $100. Have you looked at what a new phone costs? Have you looked at what a newer used phone costs? So until this becomes, second rate to anything by a margin of error, there's no point in changing it. But without doing the research, I would have never known that. Another thing you can do research on is vacationing. We have tons of videos in our backlog about budget beach vacations, going on a cruise for a lower price, and many other things. When you do the research, be it cars, be it vacations, this is all money you're going to save. And by saving that money, by making good decisions because you did the research, you will then have more money to be able to invest and grow your wealth. The next one is a word that a lot of people really hate. I mean, they really hate it, and that's budgeting. Now, budgeting doesn't have to be some evil beast. All right, I've got friends that can tell you every penny they spent in every place, and that's awesome. I've got other friends that do it a lot like we do. So basically, I know that I'm going to put everything on 2 credit cards. I have one credit card that's a Sam's card that I use for buying stuff from Sam's, which is where we get a lot of our food. And we also buy our gas on that card because we get 5% cash back. So I know that all those are on there. And then we have one other credit card that we put all our other purchases on. At the end of the month, I want to make sure that everything on both those cards is under $5,000 unless there's a massive bill to pay. We do have some massive bills because we pay a lot of bills once a year. Car insurance, once a year. House insurance, once a year. Property taxes, once a year. So when those things come up, there is variance. But other than that, all I got to do is say, okay, we're already halfway through our budget and it's only the first week. Time to slow down. But by budgeting and setting a cap on what you can spend, you're setting a cap to what's left over. You're not just openly spending everything you make. By doing this, it allows your saving rate to go up by what you set it at. And you don't have to track every single penny. If you're going over, there needs to be reasons you're going over. And this will at least make you think when you're out spending to slow your spending down. And when you slow your spending down, more money is going towards your financial independence and your future. Number 4 is probably my favorite one, and that is to invest. Because the secret of financial independence is you have to put money into something. So whether you want to do rentals, whether you want to do stock market, maybe you want to do something where you invest in treasuries, maybe you do a CD ladder. However you do it, you have to put the money in for your future. Now, it may feel restrictive at times, but you have to understand that if I said to you, okay, you got to go to work and make, say, $4,000 a month, but you're going to have a little less for the next few years as you invest, but then after that, you don't have to go to work no more, and you get $4,000 a month. You're going to be able to get yourself and spend a lot more money on yourself because you're not spending the gas, the upkeep, all the clothes and stuff to go to work. So it's delayed gratification. Investing is the only way to grow your wealth. If you live paycheck to paycheck, you generally will never reach financial independence. All right? Financial independence is made by either going out and starting a business. Maybe it's going out and starting an income stream. Maybe you get royalties from writing books. It really doesn't matter. I have just found that outwardly investing, be it in yourself or other things, can create income streams or create a pot of income that creates enough growth or interest to support your lifestyle. If you do this, I promise you, you will become financially independent. How long it takes will be based on your decisions and nothing else. Now, the final one is the most important. And I cannot stress this enough, because success only works when you do this. And I don't care what they say. You can listen to all these gurus about money, but this is the answer, and that's communication. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, you need to sit down and have talks about money with your significant other. You need to sit down and have talks about money with your children. You need to sit down and have talks about money with your parents. Because anything these other people do can affect you. All right? As far as communication on the most basic level, you and your partner, be it if you're married, your girlfriend, whatever, you have to be on the same page. You have to be on the same page. You will never achieve financial independence and stay there if you're not. The reason why? Maybe they have different spending habits than you. Maybe they wake up and say, I don't want to do this anymore. As long as they're communicating that to you, you can still save your financial independence that you're working towards. But if you're not communicating, you don't know what the other person thinks or feels. All right? It is not a game of it'll be okay. One person can learn all about the investing, learn all about everything, and the other person does nothing. The first thing I say to anybody who's married that talks to me about like selling options, building an income portfolio, investing in index funds, I say, is your partner on board with this? Do they understand? Because I myself could say I can sell options, I can do dividend investing, I can do all this, but all this needs to be somewhat managed. If my spouse doesn't know how to do that and I keel over and die tomorrow, they're going to burn right through it because they don't know any better. They don't know that you should only spend this much and reinvest this much. They don't know how to sell the option, so that income dies. You have to communicate. The other person has to be a part of this, all right? And you need to make very clear and basic boundaries with everyone else. So, for example, you need to sit down and talk to your parents and say, look, I'm working towards financial independence. I'm going to be locked into this number factor here. And I need to know that you are going to be taken care of. I need to know that you have plans in place so that I don't need to ruin my financial independence to take care of you later. I have no problem helping you, but I need to know my role in that now. And that's communicating. And a lot of people don't want to talk about money. They don't want to talk about debt. They don't want to talk about college and all the other stuff. These are conversations you need to have. All right? For example, when you go to your children and say, we're working towards financial independence, you are now out living on your own. Do you have your ducks in order? What are the expectations you need from us? And be willing to also communicate to them if they want something that's outside the range of what you can do, to say no. There's nothing wrong with having these conversations because then everybody knows what to expect of everyone else. Now, if you want to see financial independence destroyed, people that don't communicate and have different mindsets on spending. Because if you have a different mindset on spending, I can promise you it's going to be a problem. You would not believe how much time Missy and I sit down and work on things together. We talk about what we're doing. We talk about investing. We talk about options. We talk about different plays we're working on. She can do everything I can do and more. All right? I myself am having to learn the other side of it. I'm learning a lot about healthcare, how to rebuild stuff. You know, communication is key. If you say, I'm going to take all this money out of the bank and pay off this debt, if they don't know, they may be out there spending. So you guys may bounce a check or overdraw an account. You have to communicate. It's everything in the whole thing. The whole basis of everything you're going to do here, if you have a partner, be it a business partner, family member, you have to communicate. It has to be an open door where you two can sit down and talk and work things out. If not, it's best to learn that now and not later. If they sit down and say, I don't want this lifestyle, I don't want to work towards this, then you have to make some decisions. And that's the important part. Because don't set yourself up to fail by going, we'll talk about it later, or we'll work on that later. The reality is, you need to get these things dealt with up front. Now, I hope you guys found some value in this. Honestly, these things seem very trivial, and you'll hear other creators talk about things like dealing with debt and how to become rich and all this stuff. The reality is, it's really not that hard. We are taught to be consumers. That's why those of us who cut back on spending and are invested in the market become rich. All right? Changing these habits is on you. And when you change them, I kid you not, the numbers will flow. The money will flow and you will just not believe it. Now, I hope you guys found some value in this. If you did, please go down, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.